Welcome back to the Pioneer Sideline. This week's Case of the Week: should college athletes be able to sign endorsement deals? We bring in now Taylor Spirito, Colton Tobias, Trevor Ulichny, and Kenneth Foran. Hot topic this week. Before we went back on air, Taylor, you're saying you have strong opinions, so let's start with you. We'll work our way down the line.
So I don't think they should be getting paid. They go to college to get an education just like the rest of us do. They are there to get an education, to get a degree. I know that they're actually going to, NCAA Division I schools to hopefully progress their career in professional sports, but they are there to be students, and they get most of their college education, if not all of it, paid for already by playing a Division I sport. So I think that's payment enough for them.
Colton.
NCAA's president has been on the record saying that if this bill passes, the new one in California, which is what we're talking about, these players would be considered employees. Well, guess what? They already are. Those players make billions of dollars for the NCAA. They should get paid for the work that they give because they put they put money in their coaches' pockets, they put money in the NCAA's pockets, and they put money in their universities' pockets. They should get paid.
Trevor.
I'm going to go with Taylor on this one. I believe, listen, you're in college. You're there for education. You're not there to get paid. You're there representing your team's colors, your school's colors, and your alma mater. You're not there to be getting paid money. When you progress your career in college and get your degree and you go pro, that's fantastic. That's when you earn your big bucks. But you're here to learn. Student athlete, key word, student.
Kenneth, bring the fire.
I don't know. I'm kind of like at odds with this case because obviously they are there. The main reason why their sports are paying for their education is because they're there for an education. So, but on the other hand, the NCAA is using their likeness in photos and like in video games. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Nope.
But yeah, like photos and video, I feel like a little bit of that could be put towards it because, I mean, it is their job a little bit. I'm like really a mediator on this one. Like I'm right in the middle. But I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, the reason why they're playing sports is because they're at the college that they got accepted to. So I'm going to say students first.
Now, some background on this bill for those watching out there. California is the first state to take this, take the lead in this. The law will take effect in 2023. 10 other states are having bills in the works to possibly follow along, and they're allowed to promote products and companies and receive payment for name, likeness, and image. So one thing I want to talk about is college is the only time that these athletes may get to profit off of their athletic success. They work their entire lives to get here. So don't you think this should be a fair chance for them to be able to make that profit and have all those years of travel and club pay off, everything pay off?
I mean, I think it pays off in the experience that they have, especially if they're part of a good team, they're part of a good school, they're a good athlete. If they're, this sounds very harsh, but if they're not good enough to get to the pros, then they should leave those endorsement deals to someone who is going to be a recognizable name in the pros. Like, for example, Zion Williamson, a great college basketball player. He's so recognizable, and he's going on to be a professional, like literally as we speak. He's going to make a name for himself in the pros and build off of the success that he had in college. I feel like endorsements and likingness is something that should be left to the professionals who build off of their college career. And if, I don't know, if they're going to college to be an athlete, then why did they not just get drafted out of high school? Because that happens.
Anyone else want to jump in on that?
I do, because the reason that Zion Williamson had to go to Duke was because of the stupid one-and-done deal that the NBA set in place, which I believe around the mid-2000s. That deal should have never have taken place. Players like LeBron James, out of all people, got drafted straight out of high school because he was good enough. Zion Williamson could have could have came out of high school because he was good enough. But no, he had to go to Duke to play 1 year there, and then he left. And here's the thing. These players are already professionals. Fans follow these teams with smear religious passion. I mean, I went to a Penn State game a few weeks ago, $150 for a ticket. That's more than Steeler tickets and a lot of Penguin tickets for hockey. These players deserve to get paid. Nobody can convince me otherwise.
Can we also mention that Colton is a very big college football fan, so he might be a little biased.
Yeah. And here's the thing, though. I see Kenny Pickett jerseys, Pitt's quarterback, all the time with fans wearing their jerseys. And he doesn't get a single profit off of that. I mean, NFL guys do it. Why can't Kenny Pickett do it? I don't know.
Any thoughts, Trevor, Kenneth?
I'm going to leave it to you.
Okay. I can kind of see where you're coming from, especially from jersey profits, because those are obviously a big thing, going back to the likeness and all of that. But also, I feel like if you're going to be at college and also play sports, you kind of need to split both of those up. Like if you're at school, make some time for school. I know this is kind of deviating from the whole kind of debate we're having, but I feel like student athletes should be focusing a little bit more on their studies more than if they're getting paid or not.
Did you see the college football, Texas A&E, I think it was, or A&M? I forget what it was actually called because I'm not a college football fan, unlike Mr. Tobias here. But there was a player who got the highest GPA in team history, which was 2.87, and they were celebrating that like it's a big deal, which it is, to have a high GPA, but that's not the highest GPA.
Yeah, and we're not expecting these athletes to be geniuses, obviously,
Right.
because their whole motivation is to be the best athlete, not the best student. But at the same time, I feel like that if they're not devoting some of their time to academics, then I don't think they should be doing any sports at all.
Now, Colton, you mentioned with Kenny Pickett, for example, and they're selling his jerseys. An issue with this, and this got brought up in a class last night actually, was only certain players are going to get picked for endorsement deals, only the best, because that's who you watch and that's who you become a fan of. So how does that affect the team dynamic if you have one player making all this money and getting all these deals and he goes out there and he's the star, and then the others that are still busting their butt and they can't get a dime? I mean, how is that going to affect a team?
Nicole, I think that is the reason why there just really hasn't been a rule set in place for college athletes to get paid, because there is a long way to go, because you're right, Nicole, because I feel like more players are going to feel entitled to just the amount of endorsements that a player like Kenny Pickett has. It's just, I'm trying to think of the words to describe this. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just don't know, because it's just so hard to think that how can this process be able to come about? I just don't know.
It creates a lot of